Hey guys, Levelcap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. DICE is currently testing changes to the movement system in Battlefield 1. Since launch, players have been able to spam strafing left and right to quickly jiggle and dodge enemy fire. This makes players very hard to hit, and it basically has no impact on weapon accuracy. On the CTE, the strafing acceleration and deceleration values have been tweaked to slow down ADAD spam. Initially, the nerf was a little too drastic, prompting DICE to speed it back up. Working on this issue also exposed a problem with the way player animations are handled on the PC, leading to them being faster than intended. This issue has been fixed with the most recent CTE patch. Future adjustments are planned for the sliding animations and mechanics. These changes may include reducing how often the slide can be done, preventing players from sliding backwards, and possibly combat penalties like decreasing the weapon accuracy. The biggest change planned, however, is just making it more obvious when a player is about to slide, and hopefully preventing the spamming of sliding mid-combat. As it stands, the animation is quite hard to read. As for weapon balance, the big change DICE made recently that decreased time to kill for most weapons is still being tweaked. The latest CTE patch removes spread entirely for LMGs when bipoded. The Fedorov, Automat, Autoloading 8.25, M1907, and Sabre Gaudi all got damage over range buffs that push their 3 to 4 hit kill range out by 5 to 10 meters. They should now be significantly more effective at medium to longer ranges. Finally, the patch adds the option to toggle chromatic aberration and film grain on or off. These visual effects were added to the base game with the In the Name of the Czars patch and were met with very mixed reactions from the community. The first major patch for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds since August has been deployed. Highlights include tweaks to the battle point system that should prevent AFK farming, more first-person perspective servers and proper leaderboards, improved shadow rendering, a new foggy weather effect, a new town east of Stalber, an option to change the crosshair color, a keybind to drop a map pin on your current location, a new weapon, the Mini 14, updated recoil animations for all weapons, grenades that cook differently and throw differently, and a variety of other bug fixes. If you want the full breakdown on the patch, be sure to check out my video on it. Generally speaking, any patch for PUBG is probably important, and this one is no exception. The Mini 14 is a great addition to the game. Shadows rendering the same across all settings is great. The only thing I'm not too enthusiastic about is the foggy weather effect. It certainly adds some welcome diversity to the game, but with PUBG's current pacing issues during mid-game, I'm not sure reduced visibility is actually going to help speed things up. As for future patches, the devs recently announced they're working with Vivix to add 3D positional audio to the game. This will greatly improve positional audio for players using in-game voice chat, so if somebody's speaking to you or taunting to you in-game, it should be easier to locate them, and also it should hopefully just be generally better at locating enemies or figuring out where they are based on their sound. Currently, I think there's an issue in the game where your height doesn't really have an effect on where you hear audio, so if somebody's 3 or 4 floors above you in the game, it might just sound like they're right next to you, so they definitely need to do a bit of work. When it comes to cheaters in PUBG, the game's anti-cheat client BattlEye has banned over 150,000 players since launch. With 10 million copies sold, that's barely a drop in the bucket for PUBG, but for some other games, that's more than their entire player base several times over. On one hand, it's really nice to know that BattlEye is doing a lot of banning and getting rid of cheaters. On the other hand, if 150,000 have been banned already, it leads me to wonder how many are still left in the game. Also, PUBG recently beat Dota 2's concurrent player count record of over 1.2 million players online, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. This is absolutely insane. PUBG is just breaking records left and right. Call of Duty World War II's PC open beta date has been revealed. Starting on the 29th, anyone and everyone will be able to dive into the upcoming title's multiplayer experience. No solid details like maps or modes have been confirmed by the developers yet, but it will most likely be similar to the PS4 and Xbox One betas that happened over the past few weeks. I'm really hoping that this year's Call of Duty title gets a decent PC port. It's been a while since Call of Duty has made a title that revolves around a realistic conflict or tries to portray battle realistically, and I think that's something that really appeals to the PC player base. So if they do a decent job of porting it over to the PC platform, I think we could see maybe a small revival of COD on PC. Either way, I'll definitely be checking out the beta and doing a first impressions video on it. World War I indie shooter Tannenberg will be available via Steam Early Access starting on November 16th. The game's official reveal trailer doesn't give away many details regarding actual gameplay, but it's marketed as a more hardcore style shooter with 64 players, vehicles, trench combat, and more World War I themed elements. Ghost Recon Wildlands PvP game mode is finally getting an open beta. PvP has been teased since before the game's launch, but wasn't officially revealed until a couple of months ago. Since then, public testing has been delayed multiple times. The open beta is now scheduled to launch on the 21st. As for what it offers, most players are somewhat disappointed that it won't utilize the game's massive open world. A lot of players, myself included, were hoping for some type of battle royale game mode to come out of this epic game world, but it doesn't look like it so far. I'll actually be trying out the PvP game mode on Twitch when it comes out, so you can be sure to check out my Twitch channel if you want to see how it plays. CSGO is finally available in all of mainland China. A region-specific version of the game has been in testing for the past few months that adheres to China's strict anti-violence and gambling laws. Chinese players who opt to sign up for a Perfect World account will get access to CSGO for free. All other players will have to pay for it. Counter-Strike clones are pretty popular, but none is more popular than Crossfire, which is a clone of CS 1.6. How successful CSGO will be compared to Crossfire remains to be seen. Crossfire is literally the most popular FPS game in the world with over 8 million concurrent players and 650 million registered users. I actually did a video about this game last year if you're interested in learning more about it. I'll leave a link to it in the description. According to Activision, Destiny 2 had the biggest first week console launch of the year. It had more day one sales than any game on the PlayStation Network in history of the platform. It also had over 1 million concurrent players for 8 days since launch, beating the first game's record. Reception of the title has been generally positive from both players and critics. The PvP trials for Destiny 1 have returned, now called Trials of 9. The players will compete in 4v4 games in an attempt to win 9 matches before they lose 3 in total. Trials are only available for 72 hours as weekend events and feature a variety of content and gameplay tweaks specific to them. Balancing for the standard competitive PvP mode in Destiny 2 is being made as part of its weekly updates. The game's ranking system hasn't been working properly, leading to massive mismatches in player skill from game to game. That issue should now be resolved. Doom and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus will now both be on the Nintendo Switch in 2018. Due to size limitations, the physical version of Doom will only contain the game's single-player mode. The multiplayer will be available as a download for owners of the game. Doom's Snap Map level creator won't be available on the Switch. Details regarding the limitations of Wolfenstein 2 have not been announced. A new trailer for the free-to-play shooter Warframe's upcoming Plains of Edelin open-world expansion has been released. A 22-minute extended gameplay video was released earlier this year, showing off a ton of the expansion's content. The new trailer shows off a few unseen NPC areas and enemies. This expansion is the game's biggest by far, and its first truly open-world experience. Fans of the game will certainly have a lot to look forward to when it launches this fall. On the 26th of this month, Elite Dangerous players will finally get to fight the alien Thargoids. Interaction with the Thargoids has been teased by the developers and in-game for months, leading up to the game's 2.4 update. These teasers include artifacts, ruins, and limited interactions with the Thargoid ships. If the cinematic trailer for the update is anything to go by, the Thargoids will be one of the most formidable enemies in the game. In our final bit of news this week, Xbox One's game DVR feature has been upgraded to 1080p recording. People with access to the Xbox Insiders program can test out the improved resolution. The same update also enables recording to external hard drives freeing up space on the console's internal drive. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. I hope you guys enjoyed. There's a lot of cool, big changes coming to many of the shooters that I love, and I'll be sure to keep you guys updated in the weeks to come. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.